Frank's story begins not with fear, but with life. Ordinary, playful, curious life. The life of a young girl growing up in Amsterdam, full of questions, laughter, and dreams, unaware at first that history was quietly tightening its grip around her world. Born into a loving family, and was bright, talkative, and endlessly observant, a girl who felt deeply and thought even more deeply. But as Nazi occupation spread across Europe, shadows crept into daily life, and freedoms once taken for granted slowly disappeared. Jewish families were forced into silence, into caution, into invisibility, and sensed the fear in whispered conversations, in hurried footsteps, in the sudden seriousness of adults. Then came the day when everything changed, the decision to hide. At just 13 years old, and stepped into the Secret Annex, a hidden space behind an Amsterdam warehouse, not knowing it would become both her prison and her sanctuary. The annex was small, silent, and suffocating, yet inside it lived 8 people bound together by fear and hope. By day they moved like ghosts, careful not to make a sound that could betray their existence. By night, the walls heard their whispers, their arguments, their laughter, and their tears. Hunger became a constant companion, boredom an invisible enemy, and fear an ever-present shadow. Yet in this confined world, and found freedom in words. Her diary became her closest friend, a place where she could be honest, angry, joyful, confused, and hopeful all at once. She wrote about the frustrations of living so close to others, about small misunderstandings that grew large under pressure, and about the difficulty of sharing space when privacy no longer existed. She wrote about her complicated relationship with her mother, her longing to be understood, and her struggle to define herself in a world that refused to see her as human. As months turned into years and began to change, she was no longer just a child hiding from danger. She was a young woman coming to terms with her own identity, her emerging feelings, and her growing awareness of the world's cruelty and beauty. She questioned injustice, reflected on human nature, and searched for meaning amid chaos. Even in fear, she believed in goodness. Even in darkness, she imagined a future where she could live freely, love deeply, and become a writer whose words mattered. The radio brought distant echoes of war, reminding them that the outside world still existed, while inside the annex time seemed frozen and yet painfully slow. There were moments of joy, shared jokes, quiet smiles, dreams spoken softly, moments that proved life could survive even under unbearable strain. But fear never left. Every knock, every unfamiliar sound carried the threat of discovery, arrest, and death. Still and wrote. Her words grew stronger, wiser, more fearless. She captured not only events, but emotions. The loneliness of isolation, the frustration of confinement, the hope that refused to die. Through her writing, and became more than a victim of history, she became its witness. Though her life was tragically cut short, her voice endured. Her diary survived when she did not, traveling beyond the walls of the annex to reach millions across generations. It reminds the world that behind every statistic is a human being, that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, the human spirit can remain honest, compassionate, and alive. And Frank was not flawless, nor distant, nor symbolic alone. She was real, vulnerable, brave, and painfully human. And through her words, she continues to speak, not from a place of hatred, but from hope, a hope written quietly in ink, in hiding, yet powerful enough to outlive time itself.